Hi everyone, this will be a channeled message and reading for you for your highest good in this very safe and divine loving space. So come on in, make yourselves nice and comfortable, and let's get started. So I want to start by saying that a tarot and an oracle reading, any sort of intuitive reading that I ever do, it always begins for me well before I pull the cards. It begins the moment that I tap in or tune into your energy. And it reflects in the way that I speak, in my body language. It's almost like I will float out of myself and be observing from the vantage point of my higher self, of this kind of higher version of myself that's physically higher, looking from above and observing the way that I'm acting in a reading as I'm delivering it. It's very, very interesting. This will even be mirrored in the way that the cards fly out. Are they very stubborn? Do they take a long time to come out? Do they fly out, kind of one across the room over here, another there? If so, maybe the situation in and of itself is a little bit messy. Do, 3 or 4 or more cards come out at once every time I try to pull? Does it take a long time? Maybe the situation has been very long standing. So there are little hints that I start picking up in a reading, and I'm also at the same time, I'm observing what I feel called and intuitively guided to do, because that really matters for me as well when I'm doing a reading. So, for example, when I am when I feel called to immediately pull from tarot right away, I know that the reading in and of itself, just because tarot is sort of it's a very traditional, widely known system and of divination, and there are oracle decks that are just as useful and kind of telling and beautiful as the tarot. It's a different sort of feel. Like if you're familiar with, let's say yoga, for example, I've always studied Ashtanga yoga. That's sort of the most traditional, or that I know of. It's a very traditional form of yoga. There's really not very much creative interpretation there. There's a system, the primary sequence that you follow, and it's very rigid in its structure. And so it is with the tarot too. I always sort of look at those two as very similar, like Ashtanga being the tarot of, divination, at least when it comes to cards. And so I want to start there with this reading, because there were a few things that I picked up on as I was doing the reading itself, as I was preparing, and as I was pulling the first few cards that I've already pulled for this spread, that just point toward some themes going on here, or maybe some greater influences. So the first thing is actually what I just said, which is about feeling called to pull from the tarot. I felt not only called to pull from the tarot for this reading as a starting point, which I don't always do. I actually lately have been going straight to an Archangel, or it changes with every single reading, of course, as your energy is changing and as my collective is changing a little bit as well. But with this reading in particular, I went straight to the tarot. There was no question in my mind. Side note, I always do wish that I said tarot. It just sounds so much classier and just more eloquent, but I say tarot. I know I do. I can't fake it. So I felt called to go. That was just a totally random side note. I don't know, maybe that's significant for somebody. But like I said, I felt called to go straight to the tarot for this one. And not only that, but I had this number in my mind as I was pulling. Oftentimes I'll close my eyes to sort of just feel more into the energy as I'm shuffling, putting my intention into the deck. And as I was shuffling, asking, what does this collective need to know? I immediately heard the number 4. And I almost felt the number with my body. I can't really explain it. It's more of just like a psychic feeling. But I just felt like I felt this 4 energy. And well, what do you know? 4 cards come out from the deck very neatly in order, like a stack of 4 cards come out of the deck the moment I opened my eyes. So just keep that in mind, because there's something very important, and we'll go over it in a moment, about the number 4 in and of itself. But that's kind of like one pillar of this, if you want to call it that, is the number 4 is very significant to this reading. The next thing that was really interesting was that as I was pulling, I will change my question depending on what I'm feeling for each reading, and so it is with my personal readings as well. I always sort of feel into that energy as well. And with this reading, I felt called, the moment those 4 cards came out, I knew that there was like a story, that they came out in order, and that they were telling a story. And so there could be something very, and by the way, let me just side note say that all cards, they always tell some sort of story for me personally. That's how I read. But there are often times when it's like some cards are clearly the past, present, future, or some represent our strengths while others represent our challenges. And this just lined up. I hope I'm explaining this well and doing justice to like what I'm wanting to express. But I feel this channel coming through me, wanting me to like really stress and emphasize the point of this being a storyline. So there could be something very significant. It could be something about you feeling called to share your own story. You could be writers or filmmakers, or just something to do with you, stories being very significant for you and for this reading in general. So let's go through the story as it came out. Like I said, there were 4 kind of main cards that came out. I did pull a couple others, as well as a couple oracle cards that we'll go over, and we will also pull more together. But the first card of the story begins with one of my favorites in this tarot deck, and that's the King of Wands. And the King of Wands, first of all, I want you, when I keep referring to the story, if you have your own tarot deck, or just if you can visualize as I pull up the cards, how they would look in a row, the way that I'm seeing it on a table, or if you can even go online maybe and just find images of the cards, or just visualize it in your mind if you're familiar with the cards. But look at this kind of as really a spread, a storyline, as I keep mentioning, because there's something important about that. And the cards go back and forth, and the first chapter of the storybook is related to the present moment, and so on and so forth. So just please keep that in mind as you're participating in this reading, because there is something very significant there. But the story begins with the King of Wands, and you can see that he has his wand, his staff sort of right there, and he's looking toward the past. And this guy is, it's almost like a stake in the ground is the way that I'm reading it. His staff is like this stake. He kind of starts the story, if you can imagine it that way. And the King of Wands, let's call him a character, right? If we're going with the story, he's this visionary. He, is like this force of fire energy. After all, he is the King of Wands, right? And as I'm mentioning that fire energy, I want to go straight into another download that I've been getting for the past actually several days. Now, park that for a second, because I want to explain the way that I get downloads. By the way, the very fact that I keep feeling like I need to explain my process might be significant. Like, you might be on a journey of starting to use tarot or oracle cards yourselves, and so this could just be some information for you guys as readers, to help you be better readers and kind of think about things that you might not have previously thought about. So I'm just going to keep going with channels that are coming through. But that might just be significant because I keep feeling called to explain my process. But I've been getting this download, and the way that it works with me with downloads is that I will often kind of say the download, whether it's to a client, to myself. If it's in a meditation, I'll sort of just like, let's say an animal comes up in my mind's eye, I'll say like, okay, giraffe. Giraffe could be significant for someone, by the way, but I'll say giraffe. And if that is the correct download that Spirit has intended to give me, the image will disappear quite quickly, and another one will come up, and the story will build, and the downloads will sort of piece together. If it's not correct, because, you know, oftentimes like it's in black and white, or it's not like a giraffe is sitting in front of me, like in my home, it's like, it's a little bit different the way it comes through as a download. So if it's not a giraffe, let's say it was like, I don't know, a llama or something, or a different animal, I will keep naming different animals, and because I'll know that it's lingering there because I haven't quite gotten the download correctly yet, or it's just meant to come out in a different way, or I meant to like focus on that a little bit longer. So basically what I'm saying here is that a download will stick with me until I have like fulfilled its purpose or gotten the message fully. And so when I say that I've been getting a download for the past couple days, I just mean that it won't leave me alone. And so I know that there's something here for you, because I know that it wasn't for any of my other clients, or let's say like my TikTok videos, it's incomplete. And so I'm feeling called to discuss this download with you guys as well, because it seems like there's an energy here that needs to be said to you on YouTube as well. And so what is this download? And I hope you're staying with me here, but what is this download that I'm getting? This download is about vitamin D. And it's interesting because D is the fourth letter. And when I say vitamin D, I'm referring to that more metaphysically. It could be like you might actually need to take vitamin D. That's more of a medical or nutritional consultation. And that, you know, I can't do that over YouTube without having met you. But it's think of this in a more metaphysical sense, and I'll explain it a little bit further, but I wanted to plant that seed almost so you can see how it's actually very much related to the reading itself. So vitamin D, like I started to say, is the fourth letter of the alphabet. So again, with that number 4, there's like a very important energy of D. And then, you know, I'm thinking with the with the King of Wands here, he to me represents this fiery energy. Well, what is vitamin D? First and foremost, it's the sunshine vitamin, right? It's the energy of the sun. And this brings me to another card, and I know I'm jumping, but it's all interconnected as always. But this brings me to another oracle card we get, which is the central sun. So there's a huge theme here. When I say sun, I'm talking about abundance. I'm talking about joy, success, you know, the spotlight, recognition, regeneration, abundance, abundance, abundance. And then as well as this very yang, masculine, solar plexus energy, this energy of willpower, of inner fire. And so this is how this connects with King of Wands as our kind of starting character here in this storyline, as well as this vitamin D download, this energy of the sun, of this fiery energy. So what a way to start this story. We have this very fiery masculine energy coming forth, this vision. And so I almost feel like whatever storyline this is referring to here, it began with a bold vision that you've had, and one that was seated in your heart, in your being, in the core of who you are, in the matrix of who you are. From the moment, you know, from pre-birth, this is something that I almost feel this energy of rising up within you. And, you know, this little lizard is so important on this King of Wands because it's this energy of being transformed by the light. There's such a power and energy of the sun right now that is kind of underlying, or rather beginning, this entire reading here. And then there's something that you had this vision for, but I want to move on to the next card because here's where it gets kind of interesting with this storyline. The next card coming up in this story is the Seven of Cups. And this is a super interesting combination because the Seven of Cups is this energy of you know, very dreamy, lot of options. Like there's just like so much happening here. He doesn't know which one to choose, which cup to choose, what's where, what's going on. And it's almost this option overload. And so it's very interesting to get that as the next card because I'm almost feeling like you had such a clear vision that started you off on this hero's journey or this quest or this, you know, some sort of big creative project or maybe transformation within yourself that has happened. It began with such a clear vision, but then it sort of got a little bit diluted or maybe the vision became more of this like dream. It was lacking stability, and it was lacking, I almost feel like it was lacking a real plan was what it is. And so you have this vision, you perhaps, I do feel like you already took some steps to achieving that, whether it's a goal or whether it's just this vision of maybe you, you know, having a successful life. It was like this big, audacious energy kind of set you forth. You took a couple steps and then you got like, whoa, like in dreamland here. You got swayed by this option overload, overwhelm energy. And that's very common when you kind of have this big vision and you set out without a plan. And I do feel that that's kind of what happened. And again, let's go back to that number 4 for a second. Well, what does 4 represent? 4 is the energy of stability, of structure, of, you know, think about the 4 legs of a table. 4 represents in the tarot, the Emperor is the first 4 card that comes out. So the 4 is that masculine container, that structure, that integrity that holds up the dream, the vision, the softness, the, you know, watery energies. And if you don't have that container, then the water will spill over and there won't be that rigid container needed to hold the seed of your visions, of your dreams, right? And now let's go back to vitamin D for a second, because here's the interesting thing. Vitamin D is one of, you know, the first and foremost vitamins that are needed for, you know, the integrity of teeth and bones. And so we have a similar energy coming up here where it's like there was this backbone, this integrity, this structural integrity and skeletal integrity needed in order to hold that container, that seed of your dreams that I feel wasn't quite there. And so this brings me to the next card. The next card is the Ace of Pentacles coming out in reverse, in its reverse position. And what's fascinating about how this came out and what I saw immediately is that I almost felt, you know, oftentimes, so in its upright position, the ace, you know, there's the hand of cloud handing you a coin, an opportunity, specifically a financial opportunity. You know, mountains are present in the background, and over here in the tarot, mountains represent this like long-term, long-standing sort of financial opportunity in this card specifically. When it comes out in reverse, I will often read that as sort of maybe missing the financial opportunity, or, you know, not accepting the hand with the coin. But in this particular case, it's so interesting because I'm almost seeing like your pentacle, your coin is being just shielded from you, if you could see it like that hand right there. It's almost being protected until you're able to provide or create or just have that structure, that container, again, to be able to have the structure to accept this opportunity and allow those seeds to actually flourish and grow. So I hope I'm making sense when I say this. I want to stress again that most interesting energy is coming up here because I just feel like this is being held like almost like in escrow for you right now. This coin is yours, and whatever this vision is that set you out on this adventure, again, this could just be a vision that you have for your life. This could be a vision that you have, you know, creatively, or for your family, or just in some way, shape, or form, but this long-term vision that set you out on the hero's journey. You got a little sidetracked. That's card 2. Card 3, you know, what's yours and is still yours and will always be waiting for you is just being held right now, protected, so that you don't plant the wrong seeds. Again, you're being asked to create this container. You know, the other interesting thing about vitamin D, like I said, it's very much related in terms of the teeth, right? And the teeth are metaphysically, spiritually, energetically related to what we can chew, what we can digest, being able to, like, are you kind of biting off more than you can chew at this point? So it's almost like you need to be able to digest everything that you're creating and to have the proper containers and structures and like stable structures in place to be able to hold this beautiful big dream of yours before you'll be given this coin. So this brings us to the final card in our little 4-card story here. And when I say little, I actually don't mean little, because this is actually, I feel this is pretty big. This is big. And that's the Page of Pentacles. And what I feel with this Page of Pentacles is that it's representing where we are right now. In my readings, I don't typically have the last card represent the present. It's normally like a past, present, and then some future advice or kind of outlook. But with this card, I feel like we're stopping right here, right now. We just pressed, stop, like we stopped the recording button on the camera, and we've landed on the Page of Pentacles, and we're about to hit go again. But the Page of Pentacles is telling me that you are being asked right now to be very diligent, to be very practical, to be very methodical, to put, again, those structures in place. But with the Page of Pentacles, I'm getting back to the vitamin D metaphor here. I'm really getting this interplay and this energy of immunity. And I'll explain why. So vitamin D is very much linked to immunity, and it can be quite useful with autoimmune conditions, but it really helps us build a very strong, robust immune system when it's taken appropriately, of course. That's a disclaimer on all the medical or nutrition advice that I give. And by the way, I am actually a nutritionist by training, so I'm not saying this without having like I've done my entire course of study in nutrition. But that said, this is not individual nutrition advice, so you must always take all of this with a big disclaimer and make sure that you're getting individual medical advice for yourself. Just wanted to say that. But that said, let's talk about immunity for a second. Well, what is immunity? Immunity is when you're, basically presented with a situation that you've already dealt with before, and because of your past experiences or exposure to a certain situation or, bacteria, virus, whatever, in the more literal sense of the word, you've built up a resistance, a tolerance, a plan, if you will, right? When your body is presented for the very first time with a foreign pathogen, it doesn't know what to do with it, and so it goes and it has to create this whole defense system. We call that immunity, so that the next time you come into contact with that pathogen, your body's like, ding, I know this one. This is, COVID. Like, okay, let's not go there, but this is, whatever it is. I don't have to give an example. It's pretty clear right here. But whatever pathogen that was, your body's like, yes, I know you. I've done this before. I've prepared. And so you're able to attack that pathogen with the appropriate course of defense for what it is. You're not overwhelmed or overtaken by, oh my gosh, what is this pathogen that I'm seeing? Or what is this hurdle or obstacle, if you want to relate it to what I'm really talking about here? What is this obstacle that I'm coming up against right now? Because your body's able to say, this is, for example, fear. Let's go there, right? This is fear. I know that this is just my fear coming up. So I'm able to look at it with this immunity that I've built up and take appropriate action steps because I've seen this fear before. And so when I see the Page of Pentacles, I'm really getting this energy of this guy is just building up his immunity slowly but surely. He's going through the situations, through the motions of, feeling the fear and doing it anyway, of whatever comes up as you're starting a new project like this can relate to so many possible situations that are going on with you guys. But whatever that is, whatever you're going through right now, I want you to really think of it as if you are the immune system of your body, as if everything that you're experiencing now is going to go into your little, file folder and memory bank of experiences. And you're going to be able to kind of look at all these situations you're facing and just have a different sort of appreciation for them, knowing that, perfect, I'm just building immunity. I've never done this before, but I'm gonna do it now. And then I'm gonna do it again. And then I'm gonna do it again and again and again and again and again. And then as I go through my journey, whenever I come up against this kind of an energy, I'm not gonna be so overwhelmed and, taken aback by whatever's happening, because I will have this immunity now. And I'm really feeling, just to go back to how this story all comes together, that this escrow that's literally waiting for you and that has your name on it, that gold coin, that abundance, that those financial opportunities that you have been waiting for. Again, this doesn't have to be financial, but I do feel a heavy energy of finances here, given that out of the 4 cards, 2 of them are Pentacles plus 1 more that I pulled after, which I'll show you in a second. But it's almost like don't worry, this is waiting for you. But you're asked right now, you're being asked to do the due diligence, to build that immunity, to go through and learn and have experiences and appreciate them for just what they are, which is learning experiences, okay? So I think that's gonna be a big mindset shift for you guys that's really going to help you through whatever challenges you're being presented with right now. If you look at all of these as like, perfect, thank you so much, I'm now immune to, let's say, I'll give the example of starting a YouTube channel and putting your story out there, for example, because that's something I'm familiar with, that I, have recently gone through and I am going through. So it's like, the first time I got a comment from somebody that wasn't so nice, it really, it hurt me and affected me. But from that moment on, I have built a certain level of immunity. Of course, I'm sure it doesn't feel good at any point, no matter how many times you've gone through it. But, if and when, it's only a matter of time, it happens again, because I have this immunity, because I diligently went through the process of being like, look, there's learning in there for me. I know there always is. And what can I learn from this now? And what have I gained from this experience? The next time that I come across that situation of somebody saying something that's hurtful, I can now say, okay, it's just someone, projecting whatever on me, or it is what it is. It's not going to hit me so deeply, right? And so it is with you guys as well. It's like, can you see the little experiences, the learning moments that you're going through right now, and really have the mindset of like, go back and ground yourself in your vision, your big vision, and be like, perfect, I'm just, building up my immunity, because this guy has a strong immune system, okay? This guy with all his fire, power, energy, he's immune to so much. And so it is with visionaries. We often get a lot of backlash, and people, when you do something new and it hasn't been done before, there is an element of you needing to build immunity. And so I really feel that you're in this stage again of building this backbone, this structure, this immunity. I want to talk about one more thing. We have these 4 cards, and I have to say there's a pretty good mix of the elements, right? I'm looking at the 4 elements here. So we have the fire with the King of Wands. We have the water, almost too much of it. It's like there's a lot of overwhelm with this card, but we still have the water element, which is good with the 7 of Cups. And then we have the 2 Pentacle energies, as well as I just got a bottom card, as I often do, which is the 10 of Pentacles coming out sideways. We will talk about that in a second. I just want to finish this this thought right now, this channel about the elements. Thank you, Spirit. So what element is missing here is the element of swords. And again, swords is the mental element. It's the element of the mind and the thoughts. And so I have to just stop and ask here, well, where is your mind throughout all of this? Are you in a position of a learning mindset? Do you have a plan mentally? Are you kind of using your mind to assist you in this process? Because it feels like there's a lack of swords here, a lack of this mental energy, this mental clarity, this focus, this, like I said, really the energy I'm feeling with that is like having a plan. That's basically the energy that I'm getting with not having swords here. So that's another thing to ask yourself. I don't often find myself giving this advice, maybe because I'm so very much in my own mental realm, but here I almost feel like there's such an emphasis on the pentacles, on the finances, on the vision, on the things that are not yet, like the material things, and materializing them. But there's like this sharp, and Pentacles is a very slow growing energy, but Swords is a very fast energy. So it's like you almost need to I'm seeing the Ace of Swords, to use that sword to cut through anything that's in your way of this vision. Like I almost want to give this King of Wands a sword right now, if I had one handy, to just cut through the things that are not part of his vision here, because there's this energy of needing to come back to that vision. Okay, so keep that in your mind. Okay, let's talk about this quickly, the 10 of Pentacles. There's actually not a whole lot to dig into with this one, because I find it to be very clear. This came out sideways with me. Sideways cards kind of have this energy of like of an empowering energy of being able to turn upright or reverse at any moment. And that factor that creates this volatility and triggers whether it's going to be upright or reverse is going to be you and the diligence that you pour into your vision and bringing your vision to life right now. And so with this 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles is the energy of a legacy, of a long-term, it's really this vision, what I'm seeing it as, this vision coming into fruition. It's like vision plus this turning upright, plus you being diligent, plus other factors, of course. But all of that combined is definitely going to turn this upright. This is a, long-term, again, think legacy, think just something that has grown, those seeds, that very first Ace of Pentacles that you were handed has now grown. And also, by the way, the sun has helped a lot with that, going back to that vitamin D and central sun energy, because you need the sun, of course, for the seeds to grow and materialize. So I think I said everything with that. I want to go ahead. I want to pull. I'm itching for an archangel in here. I want to leave you with an archangel. I gave you kind of some food for thought already with building structures, with having that swords energy, the mental aspect of this, creating a structure, a container, a system, putting systems in place, having a plan, building up your immunity. Those are all things that I'm going to ask you with this reading to work on. But I really see, brilliant outcomes, like with this, almost the whole storyline lying on this bed of legacy. I mean, how beautiful is that? So it seems like a really, really positive reading, but it's like really contingent on, can you do the work? And can you build that immunity long term and really take that vision, that fiery, quick vision of yours, and ground it and have the clarity and the mental focus required to bring that to life, is what I'm seeing here. And so with that in mind, let's go ahead and let's get you an archangel from Kyle Gray's 22 Archangels. An archangel to really help you do everything that we just spoke about. So this is going to be your ally, let's say, as you're going through and doing the work, whatever this reading is finding you. So thank you, archangels, for helping us. Who can help us? Who can help us grow that legacy, that vision? perfect. Orion. Oh, this is so good because Orion, Archangel Orion, is the energy of manifestation. What is manifestation? It's bringing to life your vision. It's materializing some, like big, like I said, audacious vision. Why can I never say that word? Audacious vision to life. Orion is the energy of bringing down the cosmos, of using your mental faculties, really your faculties of visualization, and of like drawing down, the power of drawing down that big energy of the cosmos. I think of Orion like the constellation, the star power, bringing that and earthing that down into reality. And that's exactly what you're being asked to do in this reading here. And look at this, the card here. So Orion's card says manifestation vortex, and it says focus your energy. That's where the mental aspect, that swords energy that I was relating to, absolutely applies. But focus your energy with unwavering faith to manifest the outcome you require. Like if that doesn't sum up this entire reading in just a few, like in just one line so perfectly, I don't know what does. But I want to leave you off with the description of Orion from this book. I know that Orion is not like, Michael, Raphael, these kind of more well-known archangels. He is a newer archangel. So I want to just read from the guidebook here and leave you off with this, this description. So Orion, rising in the sky, is a cosmic angelic being who is offering the earth support from heaven. A vast angelic presence who appears to be made of starlight, he brings down the power and energy of the stars, helping us connect with the imaginable and tap into possibility. He governs the stellar gateway, an energy center that is found above the chakras and allows us to draw upon and embody the manifesting power of the universe. Ooh, that's beautiful. And here's the message. So the message says, this is a blessed time. Angels are drawing close to you and encouraging you to continue focusing on the life you want to create. That's yes. On the life you want to create and the blessings you are ready to receive. Yeah, the ones that have been waiting for you. If you find yourself in conflict with your inner voice, or there are people around you trying to discourage you, oh, that's interesting, because I was giving the example of like people saying rude things to me, right? Like during my YouTube journey, so that's interesting. So if you find yourself in conflict with your inner voice, or there are people around you trying to discourage you, assert yourself. Pretty good advice. Believe that you can create anything. Don't let anything or anyone deter you from fulfilling your dreams. And that's where the immunity is going to really come in handy to stay the course and not let anything sway you. Angels want you to know that the life you want is here. You are being filled with the infinite light and energy of the cosmos. Let yourself be held up by gratitude. Tuning into the blessings you already have will allow you to magnetize more experiences to be grateful for. Know that your wishes, ooh, that's interesting, your wishes are within your grasp now. Angels are supporting you as you manifest your wildest dreams and the life you deserve. Oh, that's so fitting. That's so perfect. So ask Orion, invoke Orion for help with this, and know that your wildest dreams, like your big visions, are so close right now. So you just need to do the work, be diligent, and remember that vision and allow that vision to really carry you forward, along with exactly what this card said, the energy of gratitude for what you already have. But that's all for today. That's the message. I hope that helped, and thank you so much for watching. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.